And welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast in which we explore the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe 1 minute at a time. In this, our fourth season, we are looking at Kenneth Branagh's 2011 film Thor. I'm Andy Nelson from the Next Reel Film Podcast. Once again, sans Matthew, but fingers crossed he will be back with us next week once he gets over his bout with COVID. Today, we are talking about Minute 95, which begins with Loki swearing he'll make the Jotuns pay, and it ends with the Jotuns paying. Joining us on the show today, for the last time, sadly, this week, we have James Anderson and Colin M. Parker, hosts of the Timeline Scavengers podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hello. I swear to you that... Oh, sorry. This isn't the time for that. Thank you for having me.
Who's paying? Right.
That one.
So I want to find out from both of you, a lot of films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, TV properties and everything. What are your 5 favorite MCU films and or like seasons of an individual show? And what would be one of your least favorites?
Well, Colin, go ahead and say least favorite just right off the bat.
Well, least favorite right off the bat is Thor 2.
Oh, okay. For movies. Okay.
Yeah, for movies, yeah.
For TV shows, he's going to say Iron Fist.
Oh, God, yeah. Iron Fist is so... Here's the thing, because I have pushed it out of my memory, I was like thinking, I don't even have to think about that. Yeah, Iron Fist is particularly bad.
Iron Fist with just Colleen Wing as the protagonist
absolutely.
Would be so
Misty
great.
Knight?
Though. Yes.
Incredible.
Nightwing, I'm telling you. Give me it.
Yeah,
they're not
gonna, but it's so good. But Iron Fist, Danny Rand in particular, Finn Jones, just boy, yeah.
Well, it got 3 seasons, so you know.
So yeah, no, I those are my least favorites. It is impossible, I feel like, to pick any like favorites, because I feel like part of my top 5 will always be on rotation, with the exception of number 1 currently now, because it's just come out, Spider-Man No Way Home.
Right to the
Spider-Man, my favorite. Spider-Man, my son, Peter Parker. Yes, we are related. Canonically, Kevin has not signed that off, but I have.
You paid a lot of money
I did.
for that.
Tom Holland was not happy. When he was like, I don't understand why I'm legally your son now. I'm like, don't question it.
Who?
Yeah. I was like, it's fine. You can talk about it on our show. He was like, okay. But I do really love Infinity War. Endgame, I think, is very good because it finishes off a lot of stories and threads. But like, I think that Infinity War was just one of the strongest, like, all-together films that they've really put together. I have a soft spot for Iron Man 1. I guess just because it was the first one I ever saw, and it was like the thing that started it all. Captain America Winter Soldier is very strong for, fight sequences. Shang-Chi, beautiful. Loved Shang-Chi. And then Thor, Ragnarok, Black Panther. I know that's a little bit more than 5, but I think that those are kind of like my current like top movies that I would probably watch over and over again, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. What about you, James?
All right. Let's see. For movies, Black Panther, Captain Marvel, Homecoming, Thor, Ragnarok, and Guardians of the Galaxy. And then for TV shows, season 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., of course. No, I'm joking, though. I have watched a lot of that. Oh, Agent Carter. Agent Carter is really, really
very
good.
underrated.
I think Daredevil, Agent Carter, Jessica Jones, and Hellstrom. I'm joking.
God, yeah.
It is. I was going to say The Punisher. I think a lot. The Netflix shows are very, very.
They
good.
are.
Luke Cage is really, really good. Iron Fist has its moments, and I think Colin will agree with that. And I also really enjoyed Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think that I think what we've been talking about all week is longer the run, and you're doing if you have a longer run and you're doing it right, it's better.
Yes, yeah.
If you're not doing it right, then whatever. But like, and then for least favorite, Hellstrom, it was fine, but it didn't really get its feet. And then for movies, I don't know. I would have at one point said Thor: The Dark World. It's fine. It slots in with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. really cool.
Christopher Eccleston was sorely underused, I felt like, because he's such a good actor, and like I just felt like there was not quite enough depth to what they did with him.
Fair.
Yeah, if you read the Searcher saga and you see what they do with Malekith, it's like, oh, this is who that character is supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah, Malekith is like huge in the books, and so like it's a shame that he's really just sort of like barely a blip. You know what I mean? Blip. And then very, very fast, I'll just run through this because I didn't say TV. Favorites, definitely Daredevil, like top number one for sure. I actually really enjoyed Hawkeye because it was based off of the Matt Fraction books, and that was the first person and only person to ever make me care about Hawkeye, so really genuinely love that. WandaVision, I think, has a high spot up there because like it felt groundbreaking for some reason. And Loki, and in particular episode 4 of Loki, just I don't know why, but yeah, really loved episode 4. We had Eric Martin on our show. Eric Martin was the writer for that episode. And then I guess I do want to say Luke Cage, but I actually did like the Defenders a lot.
I did too.
I think they needed another season to really solidify that. Yep. The Defenders actually was really pretty solid. So yeah, happy to see Kingpin back though. Ooh, seeing Vincent D'Onofrio back in the... yeah, it's so good. He's back. James believes that he's gone, but he's back.
No. He'll be back.
James, if you don't see the body, there's no way to tell.
There's a whole show with Echo.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't see Garrett or Cole ever again.
They're going to be part of the... They'll be in the show.
Kingpin is just Garrett and Cole in a big suit.
Yeah. 2 agents, 1 Kingpin.
I love that.
It's like 2. I can't pick on these favorite movies.
It's tough. It's very tough.
I'm not. I can't do it. I like maybe Thor. Like I like Thor just fine. They hadn't found their feet yet. Maybe Thor. Incredible Hulk. Maybe, I don't know. Like they all have their moments, and when you watch them with the timeline and the setting each other up for stuff,
it's nice to see what they do.
It does change some of those movies. Yeah. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like Cap 1, but...
Yeah, oh no, yeah, absolutely. Well, I have yet to see a movie where watching it by the minute didn't...
Make it better?
Give me a more nuanced feeling about it. I won't want to say made me like it more,
okay.
but I think that, like, gave me less of a sort of, like... I see more stuff that's going on.
Yeah, exactly. It's the nature of the beast, right? You're really focusing on all the details. And so, yeah, you get a chance to, well, for better, for worse, right?
For better or worse.
Well, let's talk about the details in this minute. So we have this moment here, Loki and Frigga, where he is, I mean, this is basically, I think, what he had been building all of this to. Once he kind of put his plan in place, he's like, I'm going to bring Laufey in, I'm going to kill him, and I'm going to be my father's pride and joy. He says to his mom, they will pay for what they've done today. Everything seems all well and good, right?
Yep, then that's it. So this has been...
Minute 95, that's it. No, we have Thor who comes back and he calls to his brother. This is that moment Loki was kind of hoping never would happen. He'd sent the destroyer to kill him. Frigga, of course, is thrilled. But that look on Hiddleston's face, or I should say Loki's face, I mean, that really says it all right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to hug Renee Russo. Is that weird? Is it weird for me to say that? Like,
probably not.
She feels very motherly to me. It looked like a really nice,
warm hug.
Do they do enough with her in this film? Because, I mean, I feel like we really, like, by the time we get to Endgame and we have, like, a real great, beautiful conclusion with the story between Thor and his mother, I feel like that's where we really get kind of the development of that story. And I feel like, was there enough of it in this film, do you think?
They hadn't learned how to write women yet.
Or her, period, that character, yeah.
I don't know when they did.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they've gotten better at it for sure. Like, it's a thing of, it's not perfect yet, but I mean, characters like Gamora and this is so embarrassing that I just immediately blanked
Nebula
on the next name I was going to say. Well, yeah, Nebula. Well, Nebula as well. Nebula. No, but I was also thinking of, oh God, it's going to come back to me in a second. I had a very specific, like, example, like a scene as well. I don't know why I'm blanking all of a sudden, but yeah, like they kind of hadn't really figured it out just yet. But in the second movie, they get into it more. Not a lot, but like I really would like the same way they gave us in Endgame kind of a conclusion to like Thor and Frigga. Like, I would love to see now that Loki is kind of like back in action, and like in a totally different way with a new mindset because of Loki, having a way for him to have a scene and moment like that, even if it does cause like a branching timeline that he could just, I don't know, just step back out of. But it would be nice to see him actually have a coming to truth with his mother, because like that was the one person in the family that understood him.
Yeah, do they have another moment in the franchise? I'm trying to think if there's ever another moment between Loki and his mom after this.
Well, so yeah, in the second movie, and it's mostly because not so much of like physically together, but there is a moment where he messes up essentially and realizes that he has caused her demise, and like that hits him very hard, and he struggles with that in future films and properties. And like that's why I think it would be nice for him to have some sort of conclusion there, because he doesn't know at the time that he's, sealing her fate. And so like that was one of those things where he was doing the thing where he thinks only about himself, but there are other people that he actually cares about. But because he was putting himself first, he, inadvertently put basically the person he probably cared about most other than Thor, even if he doesn't want to admit it, in danger. And yeah, and that certainly has an effect on him. Like when he watches it back during Loki too, like you could see how much that hurts him, when he sees that moment and like what happens.
Yeah, it's a powerful thing to kind of have that play out. And I enjoy the relationship. This is one of those minutes where I really want to know what happens after Thor is blasted through the wall. We're going to get to all the stuff in between, but Thor is blasted through the wall. Next time we see Loki, he's on a horse riding across the bridge. What does Frigga say? Like, does he just kind of like run out of the room real quick, or does he magically disapparate out of the room so he doesn't have to deal with her? Like, I just feel like there's got to be a moment right there between those two characters.
Even though I don't think it's to necessarily escape her, I think it's definitely to escape Thor.
Yeah,
because that is definitely like, I got a cheap shot in on my brother.
Yeah,
and that is my only advantage. It's not going to work a second time, so I've got to book it to this doorway if I have any chance of beating him.
Plus, that was when it was revealed that as kids they accidentally bust down that wall and then mortared it up themselves. They didn't do a very good job. Now that secret's gone, and Frigga's going to be so mad. So
there was a hole in the wall already, but it was hidden behind an Odin poster.
Yeah, exactly. I think Loki on the horse riding down the Bifrost to the Ladyhawke soundtrack is gorgeous. It's like that synthesizer. I was like, this is an excellent 80s fantasy sci-fi movie, and well done. Like I'm like, we were talking before about like walking down, flying across, whatever. I was like, all of that pales in comparison to the beauty of him riding his horse down the Bifrost to like that cool, both futuristic and pastoristic time soundtrack. I lost words there for a sec, but yeah.
There's a nice element. I mean, we've got a lot of nice shots of them riding across the Rainbow Bridge. In this film, later films, I mean, it becomes something that they use. It's nice to see them doing that. I think it's very cool. And I know we're jumping ahead, but I will say that I was very disappointed to see that he's on a four-legged horse. He chose not to ride Sleipnir, and I don't know if that's something that he can choose as king, or if it's like horses and people, where it's not the king's horse. That is very specifically just Odin's horse, and nobody rides Sleipnir except for Odin.
Right.
I don't know, but
I think that's how it is in the comics. I believe I've read that is how it is in the
wouldn't
comics.
It have been cool, though, to see him charging down the bridge on an 8-legged
maybe it's
horse?
like a convertible. Maybe you put the sixth or the other set of legs down
when you go into turbo mode.
Fast. Yeah, exactly.
You hit the big red button and
the extra
more
set of legs
horsepower.
down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that was very good.
So let's jump back real quick. So we've got this moment, the confrontation between the two brothers. I don't want to skip over this because I think it's a great scene here. First of all, just the construction of this whole thing, the way that they put the two brothers on opposite sides of their father, lying in his golden Odin jelly, that we'll call it, right between them.
Yeah.
And we keep cutting from shot to shot, from side to side. And we have brother with Odin in the low foreground of each side. And it's just like, what a way to construct the scene in this conflict between the brothers and their father. But what do you think of this whole confrontation in general?
I can't take my eyes off Frigga hugging Thor and Thor giving the hands off, she's mine prom date stare at Loki. Like, he's not even hugging her back that much. And she's like, oh, I missed you. And he's like, oh, I'm going to kill you. Hug, I guess.
It's really funny that you think that. It's really funny to me that you viewed that. Sorry, that made it sound like I was getting super confrontational.
It's funny you think that.
It's funny that you saw that we viewed that portrayal differently, right? Because you saw that as back off, she's mine, right? I view that as my mom is hugging me, and I'm not I'm not too big of a man in quotes that I can't hug my own mother, but I am still mad at you. So it's right. Yes,
okay,
oh, motherless, yes, but I'm gonna. It's if you're hugging, if they were hugging over the shoulder, he would just be going,
yeah, that's right.
Over her shoulder. It's oh, mom, it's so good to see you.
Yeah, exactly. That's totally right.
Does Thor always have such black eyes or is it just this movie?
Well, no, it's really funny that you say that because his, they bleached his eyebrows, they bleached his hair, it just looks awful. His wig is terrible. But it was only, I think, last week's minutes, maybe a few weeks ago, where suddenly his eyes started looking black, and we noted it, and we're like, did his eyes just change? Why are they all of a sudden seeming like his just solid black? It's very strange, and I don't know what the change was or why, but it does seem like they put him in just solid black contacts or something. Very weird.
I'm so glad you said that. I noticed it when he was talking to Coulson in minute 91, but I was afraid you were going to be like,
it's been that way the whole time. Hello.
Yeah, no. James, for 9 movies.
But it's weird because when he's in the coronation scene, they are decidedly not.
Yeah, very, very, very blue. Yeah, so it's
time on Earth.
I do appreciate that. What if fixed the bad Thor look? Because they were very specific about it too. They had posted, I think it was AC Bradley who had said something about it, but about being we made sure that his eyebrows were dark with the blonde hair in What If, because looking back at that first movie, it was a poor choice. It's just because it completely blends in with his skin, and it makes him look like Matt Smith's doctor from Doctor Who, where just no eyebrows. It's really bizarre. Anyway, that's a really random pull for a show that I haven't watched in 10 years at this point. But it's a very weird look. But I really do love the fact that Odin is always the thing that separates them. Mm-hmm. Because it's not just Odin, it's what Odin stands for, really. It's the throne, the head of the family. The what?
Or lies down for, as the case may be.
Okay, yeah. What he sleeps for.
So here's a question as it relates to kind of all the stuff. So we have Thor and Loki. Thor's kind of pushing Loki with the truth. Loki's hitting back with falsities about how the destroyer, it must have been fulfilling Father's last command. I assume at this point he's very specifically just doing all of this purely for Frigga. He's just trying to say, save face, really. Even though there's really no way.
There's no way that's convincing.
Well, it's not convincing Thor, but I can't imagine it, especially what he's about to do a few seconds later when he blasts his brother through the wall, right?
Mom, what's that?
Yeah, right, yeah.
Thor broke the wall, Mom. Did you see? He broke the wall. He just burned. He's like, screw this, boys. I'm going out of here.
Thor's supposed to be banished, and he's back, Mom. So surely you should go ground him. Anyway, I'm going to go, blow up a planet. Goodbye, genocide.
Well, that's the thing. So if Thor is supposed to be banished, and he's not supposed to be back, and Odin had banished him, if Loki says, oh, well, the destroyer must have been fulfilling Father's last command, I'm going to take you out like Dad would want us to, and he blasts Thor, just presume, he hits Thor with the blast, and Thor falls through the wall and dies. Just say that happened. would Frigga then go, oh, wow, I guess you were doing what Dad had commanded?
Nice shot.
Yeah.
I think that she, I think she definitely would be like, it doesn't matter if he wasn't supposed to be here. You should not have killed your brother.
She's definitely very spirit of the law.
Haven't we learned yet?
She's very much like, yeah, sure, there's rules and stuff like that, but like, this is family. I love both of you, my two sons, my two princes. If you want to be family,
nope.
No, okay, I can't make that joke again.
They're gonna sue us. I'm getting a call here.
You got to use two
yes?
friggin'
Hello?
jokes.
Spin doctors, yes.
Okay, so I feel like I can get this. It's the spin doctors. You say you want to make a new song? Well, listen to this. Sorry, the little so. No, I think that she would probably be upset that he, like, if the what if situation here is Thor dies, she'd be like, well, okay, no.
So really, I mean, Loki is only doing this just to maybe buy some time and hopefully can, at least, because I mean, I don't think he's going to be in a situation where he's going to win and Frigga's going to say, oh, okay, you were right all the time. Like, yeah, so really it's just buying time just to...
It's time to formulate a plan.
When Thor shows up, he's no longer trying to impress Frigga. I think that he's saying things that are sort of like, what you're saying sort of sounds like you're trying to hedge your losses here, but how you're saying it is angry. And so probably I'm going to guess you're angry because he's like, he's in his foil again moment. Like, I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you pesky thunder god.
And your little warriors of 3 too.
Right. Volstag's like, that's right. Yay, us.
On the wind. Yeah. Sure.
So I think that he's no longer trying to fool. This is why I was so confused, because he drops the act because Thor's here and his plans are ruined.
Yeah, right.
So we forget, and so does Loki, that Frigga's even in the room, because she may as well not be, because now it's blasting time.
Yeah.
That was his catchphrase before they cut that.
Right.
It was, if you consult the original script, it's
in there.
Loki said it's blasting time.
It's because it was too similar to the Things line of it's clobbering time.
They were planning Fantastic Four even then.
Yeah. They had a fight about it, and it didn't go well for Loki. Yeah.
Just real quick, that Spin Doctors album, hilariously, I had forgotten until I remembered, is called Pocket Full of Kryptonite, so wrong franchise. That's why we can't sing Spin Doctors.
Oh, see, that's why.
Yeah, wrong franchise.
That's right.
Yeah, got it. It's also interesting, though, that, like, they have this whole fight, right? The two of them, or, like, argument, this back and forth, and then he blasts him. And my kind of question about this whole, like, where he goes next is I know that he says to his mother, Loki does, right, that they will pay for this, this action, or I forgot what he says, this act of war, whatever the wording is. But I almost I can't tell if always the plan was to, after he betrays Laufey, was to go blow up their planet, because it almost feels like he's like, okay, I'm not going to win this whole thing. So at this point, I'm just going to try and take out as much stuff as I can, because I'm a toddler throwing a tantrum. And it's also very interesting because it's kind of the exact thing that he tried to get Thor to do to get Thor in trouble. Like, he was like, I'm going to purposely let Thor go into Jotunheim and just wreck shop because it's going to get him in trouble. And, like, at first it's like, that's, but it's like, I don't want that, but I want Thor to do that. And now in the end, he turns around and is like, haha, I'll show him I'm going to blow up a planet. So it's interesting.
Well, I think it does become intentional because he finds out that he is a Jotun and that he's Laufey's son who had abandoned him. And I think it's all in that line when he says, it's the son of Odin who kills you. Because, at the beginning, it's like, okay, so there's a battle between the Jotuns. Dad's telling us about this story and all this stuff. There are, our sworn enemy, but everything's kind of at peace for a while. Everything's fragile and everything with the Thor going down and nearly starting a war. I don't think that Loki's intentions at that point were to continue to kind of get this war going, but I think that once he finds out that he's a Jotun, it really turns into this thing to say, I'm going to stick it to you because you abandoned me. I am Odin's son. I am going to, I mean, conveniently, he had frost giants come in at Thor's coronation. So it looks like Jotun is trying to invade, right? There's that moment. There's this moment where, everything's iced up, and here's King Laufey about to stab the king, and Loki killed him. And now it's like, hey, I've got all the evidence I need to destroy this planet. And for him, I think it's saying, you know what? Good riddance to that crappy planet. You guys abandoned me, and to hell with you.
I abandon you from life.
Right.
Well, if he gets rid of Laufey and Jotunheim, then what's a Jotun? There's not that anymore.
True.
I guess I'm Asgardian.
He has to be Asgardian at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
I only have one dad. I only have one home planet.
But
realm.
silly Loki,
they don't call it home planet.
Asgard is not a place; it's a people.
Asgard is a feeling.
So is Jotun a people? Is he still? So he'll still be.
Oh no, Jotun is definitely a place. I feel like again, it's that mentality thing. Asgard has a little bit of that like love-feely kind of situation. Jotun, there is no minced words. There's no lost love there. Right. No love there.
I'm in an Asgard state of mind. Billy Joel once wrote.
There you go. I think that was his original lyrics.
Infamously, actually, an Asgardian who's down here. Yeah.
Sued. He was sued to near poverty, and so he had to build back.
So, all right. So Loki, he blasts Thor with Gungnir. The Force throws him through the wall. We've already talked about that. Is this?
It's a brick wall.
I
just realized.
I think it's a seriously. I don't know. It's some Asgardian concrete or something. It's strong stuff. But Thor goes flying out and plummets to presumably the ground. He kind of disappears in a cloud. Can Thor not take a hit like that? Or is it just that he's been mortal for so long and is still a little weak? Any thoughts on that?
I think it's that room. I think it's the same reason that Frigga didn't use her magic.
Oh,
I think there's something sort of weakening. What's it? What am I? We all lose our powers.
Odin is sucking all the power from everybody in because he needs it for himself.
To repower.
Yeah, there's some sort of movie or TV show where it's like, in here we don't and no one has any powers.
Superman 2.
Well, I mean, and also in the TVA, like magic you can't use magic whatsoever.
Right.
So there's also that.
That may be more likely and more recently seen.
But the other thing to take into consideration here, though, is that like that is most definitely Odin's weapon, and it is very strong. Mm-hmm. It is also magic. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the thing with like Thor is like, I mean, yeah, he can certainly take a hit because like obviously he comes back and he fights, but I think that like something like that, especially if you're not quite prepared for it, like he knows he's going to get into a fight there, but I feel like if you don't get the quick draw there, like that's gonna set you back. I feel like there's no way around. Like Thor is certainly still not fully come into his power, and so for Loki to essentially kind of just cheat and use, I get to use daddy's weapon, he's like, like playing dress up, right? He's playing the part and he's blasting his brother through a wall, and probably also a little bit of that thing of like, haha, this is what it feels like, every time when we were kids and you would just, wallop the hell out of me. Like, and now I get to return the favor, take that, brother.
There's a Mitch Hedberg joke where he says, I played golf and I never was very good, but I did hit a guy once. And you're supposed to yell 4 if it's coming near to hitting someone, but I was too busy saying to myself, there's no way that's going to hit him. And I think Thor was sitting there being like, there's no way he's going to blast me with that thing right in front of like he didn't have time to...
Right, because I mean... I don't know. We just saw him fighting the fire blasts from the destroyer. If he had time and brought his hammer up to spin it, would that have deflected the blast or something?
Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that's the other thing is like really Thor's powerful, but a lot of his attacks are really slow. Like they take a second to like really amp up. Like. I mean, it's throughout most of the films. It's not usually just like point blast, lightning. A lot of the times it's like reach up, pull it down from the sky and blast down. Like it takes them a second to concentrate and pull that, from midair essentially.
Yeah.
And it's really not until like his third film where he starts getting stronger and actually pays more attention to like his ability rather than using the crutch of a weapon.
It's a reverse Samson thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because he gets his hair cut. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
that does work. Yeah. So I think that's what it comes down to. Like, I don't think that, also, sorry, I just realized you also brought up the point about the destroyer also having fought that thing. That thing also probably most certainly did some damage. I mean, like, not like, I don't think it came close to killing him necessarily. I think, I don't know. I could be wrong on that. I really don't know how to, there's no, health, there's no like health bar over his head showing us like, how much HP he has left throughout the movie.
Right.
But like, he also doesn't really get to rest between these two things. So surely like that
the aggressive kissing,
right.
like it's like 3 battles.
That only restores like one D8 of hit points, I'm just going to keep doubling down on, D&D stuff in this show.
I always like to think that, there's time to sleep when they're in the Bifrost traveling back. But I mean, perhaps there's a lot of focus that they have to have in while they're traveling in that.
Probably because like what happens if you roll over? Like, do you end up in, Sakaar again? You're like, oh,
right.
Gosh, I need to learn to like not like move so much in my sleep. I'm a tosser and turner.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
They need seatbelts for the Bifrost.
Don't
I think is what we're getting to.
Sleep.
The Odin Bifrost sleep belts, right? Seatbelts.
Pull off the Bifrost and then take a 20-minute nap and then pull back on to the Bifrost.
Are there like truck stops on the Bifrost? Yeah. Like, can you go to like a Sheetz and like get
I would watch that
snack?
Show all day long.
That's just like a truck stop on.
That's like the restaurant at the end of the universe now. Or,
yeah,
exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
It's just watching all the different people coming in from the Bifrost and like there's like a diner. Like, what'll it be?
Yeah.
Eggs. Okay, whatever.
It's the same. I love that. Very good.
So Loki,
Loki thanks you for that. He is very happy that you did that.
He's blasted his brother through the wall. Somehow he skirted his mom on his way out. He's hopped on the horse and he's down at the observatory. Here he, does what his dad did earlier. He uses Gungnir instead of Hofund, Heimdall's sword, he sticks it into the keyhole to get the observatory going. Again, I really don't understand how this works. Like they just stick the thing in and it hits exactly what they were thinking. Is it a mental connection with these things? Like, and why is it hitting the town in Jotunheim now instead of hitting Bifrost Junction where it was always the edge of the cliff until this moment?
I like to think that it's like when, if you have, I've heard tell of this, I don't actually have it, but like if I put my key in a car, it adjusts the seat and stuff to my specifications and then
user presets.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's riding along with his thing and then he's like, all right, gonna go to Jotunheim. He's thinking real Jotunheim thoughts. It's sort of like Peter Pan plus modern car technology. You just put it in, he's thinking Jotunheim thoughts, and then it just like shoots him like a cannon, I guess, like a Loki laser.
It's the Loki laser. I like it.
Yeah. I think it's also a little bit of the inconsistency part of the Bifrost, like we were talking about in another episode. I think that like we later on kind of get into a point where the Bifrost can drop you where you need to be. It can pick you up where you are, as opposed to having to go to an exact coordinate on the planet. I've always found that really weird that they could only go to one spot in this movie. And part of that also might be sets. Part of it's just convenience to like not have them say like goodbye and kiss in front of Agent Coulson, because like that would be weird, right? Like if you're just
they did say goodbye and kiss in front of 4 other people. So
yeah, but like that's his friends. You know what I mean? Like
it's not her friends.
Yeah, well, Eric and Darcy were there. Eric and Darcy.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. They were all watching.
Right.
They're both there with people that they're intimate with. You know what I mean? Like they would understand. It's like, when you're, younger and like maybe you kiss someone on their doorstep when they go in to see their family, right? And maybe the family's like, oh yeah, we've all been there, right? And like in high school or whatever. After going to the movies and, eating at like, I don't know, Champs or Uno's or something. I'm just spitballing about Columbia, Maryland, I guess. But like, then, you drop them off at the door and you're like, okay, your dad's looking through the blinds there, so I probably shouldn't. And it's like, this is so uncomfortable. Okay, well, yeah, sure.
And this is why I waited to do most of my dating in college, because all of that's gone.
Sure.
Unless you have a roommate situation.
Then it's all your roommates who are
then maybe that's worse.
Cheering you on.
Yeah, that's probably is. But no, I think it's like I think it's just a little bit of storytelling stuff to like have a reason also to like use certain sceneries and stuff like that and what have you. It is a little weird that it's then like not at the same junction, but the thing is that I do think it's also a little bit like if you've ever worked in like a giant building that is that uses different sets of keys for things. I mean, I feel like a good example of this would be like a school, actually, is that usually you have a key that only opens like a couple types of doors, but then there's like a master key that can open all of them. And I think it's like that sort of situation where it's like Heimdall probably also can do, like they probably have two sets of the same master key. There's probably more than one weapon that can be put in. But I bet that like these two are basically like the sentry and the leader of Asgard are like the only two people who can go wherever they want.
Right.
Because that's the only two people to make sense, I think.
I like to think that Heimdall told everyone that he could only like fire the Bifrost gun at certain points just so they wouldn't be like, he's like, it has to be on the squiggles. You can't go, those squiggles are there for a reason. And he's like, I could send them anywhere, but I'm not going to tell them that, because then they'd be coming and they'd be like, "Hey, Heimdall, I want to go to McDonald's," and I'm like, "No."
He can hear a cricket fart in Fartelheim. I meant to say Spartelheim.
Niflheim. It's the Niflheim cricket.
Oh, Niflheim. Yeah, sorry. That was embarrassing. But Sniffelheim.
Got him.
But like, I'm sure he could. But it's, again, I think it's like a weird MacGuffin in a way that they then didn't really stick to, but
or like a random obstacle, like an arbitrary obstacle.
It very much is, because I mean, if they've had this all along, like when Odin was battling Jotunheim in the past, couldn't he have just said, you know what, just put the Bifrost, point it down to Jotunheim, let's just get rid of them, and not worried about it? Like, why would they have to go to war if they have this tool? Like, it's one of these things that ends up being a little frustrating, the way that they end up deciding to use it.
Yeah,
it is one of those things. It is what it is. It's here.
They're also the people in power because they're the only ones that can like actually use this. Like, all other 9 realms are like, "Hi, can we also?" And they're like, "No."
Yeah,
no.
Exactly.
This is
literal gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's unbelievably true.
Very true. Very true. Well, I don't think I have anything else for this minute. Do either of you have any last little thoughts, or about this, or the whole week? I mean, it's been quite a week.
What a ride!
Yeah, it's been a great ride that sometimes we have to spin it a few times to get going, and sometimes it's just one upward motion to ride. No, it's been a great ride. I don't want that to come across as I was saying some were bad, I'm going to stop that line of thought. No, I think it's great. And my first celebrity crush was Natalie Portman, so like this movie definitely, especially why I was like, either way, I mean, I feel like I'd be winning, It's
like the opposite of Alien versus Predator.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, Alien and
either way we all win.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she was great in this movie. It's a shame that 2 went very like wide swinging from that. I enjoy Chris Hemsworth a lot as Thor. I think that the writing can be a little clunky at times in 1 and 2, but I feel like Chris just does a really good job of like really selling it. And I also appreciate that. Not saying that Tom Hiddleston was bad in this movie, but I really truly appreciate that like Tom Hiddleston gets better every single time he steps into it. And part of that's character development. But I mean, like, I just feel like it really shows how dedicated to the craft and like the MCU, and like he's like part of the MCU Bible. He like knows everything, like he's clearly like invested full stop. And I think it's very cool. So
the most trustworthy Tom H in the Marvel universe.
Until
Tom Hanks not give away spoilers. Oh, right. Tom Hanks would be, of course.
Tom Hanks would be great in the MCU. I know.
Mm-hmm.
There's always room.
Always room. Also, Anna Kendrick. Where's my squirrel girl? I have been thinking that this is really a battle between Hammer Time and Ice Ice Baby for about 25-30 minutes. So
end the show before he's going to go on a whole thing. He's going to go on a whole thing. You got to stop him.
This is really a novelty early 90s rap allegory, and I think we can all agree on that.
This is the
I'm sure Shakespearean
Asgard.
Kenneth Branagh fully intended that. He said, Shakespeare, you know what? That's not why I'm in for this one. It's really the 90s rap battles that I want to.
Yeah, he got free parachute pants, and everyone was like, "That's a little suspect." And he was like, "What? I like them. I wear them all the time."
He was like, "I didn't even take a paycheck for this. I just said, just give me the pants."
Yeah.
All right, you two. Well, it has been so great having you on all week. Thanks so much. Remind everybody one last time. Yeah, absolutely. Remind everyone one last time where they can find you and listen to your own podcast.
Absolutely. One of the easiest ways to find us is to go to twitter.com/timelinescav @timelinescav if you want to get hip with it. You can also find that same on Instagram. Where we do post the same photo that we post on Twitter for like the show, like episode updates. But also we frequently do a little segment that we're, jury's still out on the name, but we're currently calling it Break Room, where one of the many things that we've read recently in Marvel Comics, we'll put up a panel, maybe part of a page, something along those lines, and just share something, especially if it's relevant to something that we've recently watched, whether in the show or just personally. So we get some really kind of cool stuff there going between comics and, cinema or TV as well. Is TV cinema?
Absolutely.
That doesn't matter.
No.
And then also scavengersnetwork.com to listen to the show or @scavengersnet to just sort of follow all the different things that we do. James is @unabashedjames.
And Colin's @Colin M. Parker, ColinMparker.
Thank you. It's just that people sometimes misspell Colin. That's the only reason why I do it.
Do they?
Anyway, yeah, you would be amazed how many people do it with 2 L's. That's not for this podcast. I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's fantastic to be here. Timeline Scavengers at the time of recording is going through 1931 and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just in time for the trending hashtag Save Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So now's a good time to jump on.
And we're going to look forward to talking to you guys unless there's a big, huge something in the early 40s. We'll be talking to you guys for episodes that are going to come out in late August. So
Excellent.
I'm looking forward to that very, very much.
I am too. It should be a lot of fun. Well, everybody, thank all of you for tuning in to the show. We definitely appreciate all the support that we get from our listeners in the Discord community, and just knowing that people do love tuning in and hearing us dig deep on these movies.
Absolutely.
So, all right, everybody. Well, thank you so much. As Matthew always says, have a good day, and as I always say, until next time, true believers.
Marvel Movie Minute is a production of True Story FM, engineering by Andy Nelson. This season's music is One Last Ride by Martin Puringer. Find the show at truestory.fm, and if your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, consider doing that for the show.